Welcome to this explainer. You know, we hear about the AI software revolution pretty much every single day now. But today, we're pulling back the curtain. We are going to look at the steel, the silicon, and the sweat that actually makes all of this absolutely possible. Let's dive right in. So, let's start with a crucial question. Who is really winning the AI race? I know, our minds usually jump straight to the creators of massive language models like ChatGPT. But there's an entirely different race happening right beneath the surface, and honestly, it has absolutely nothing to do with writing lines of code. What's really fascinating here is the stark contrast. Software feels like pure magic, right? It's weightless, it lives up in the cloud, and it answers our questions instantly. But the reality? AI is incredibly heavy. It requires sprawling servers, massive heavy machinery, and enormous cooling systems. Without that physical anchor, the digital magic just doesn't exist. All right, let's get into our first main topic, the hidden hardware boom. While the whole world is glued to software updates and algorithm tweaks, China is quietly making billions, literally billions of dollars, just supplying the physical backbone of this technology. Leading into 2026, we are seeing a massive dedicated export boom driven almost entirely by the exploding global demand for AI. And it's wild when you look at the sheer variety of stuff driving this surge. Businesses worldwide are pouring massive capital into cloud computing, devouring electronic components, specialized AI server equipment, and heavy industrial machinery just to build out their data centers. China is essentially supplying the picks and shovels for the modern AI gold rush. Which brings us to powering the AI revolution. To really grasp this, we need to understand exactly why the world suddenly needs so much of this equipment. Well, every single AI model out there, from the chatbots on your phone to autonomous vehicles, requires a mind-boggling amount of computing power. In the grand scheme of the AI ecosystem, the software code is just a tiny fraction of the puzzle. The vast majority? It's the massive physical infrastructure footprint. Because when we say computing power, we aren't just talking about a couple of fast chips. We're talking about entire, sprawling data centers packed to the brim. Those high-performance processors and advanced memory chips run incredibly hot, which means you absolutely need advanced cooling systems and super complex power management. The physical footprint is staggering, and well, all of these parts have to be built somewhere. It's honestly like a giant global puzzle. Step 1. The most cutting-edge AI chips might be designed right here in the US by companies like NVIDIA and AMD. But step 2, the broader electronic assemblies and industrial equipment are heavily manufactured and assembled in China. Then, step 3, it all gets shipped globally to actually build out the world's data centers. Let's move on to China's manufacturing advantage. Now, you might be wondering, why hasn't this manufacturing step just moved somewhere else? Well, this isn't an overnight success story. China has spent decades building massive industrial capacity, paired with a skilled workforce and incredibly modern logistics. Because thousands of suppliers operate right next to each other, they can manufacture this complex tech incredibly fast, and at a scale that keeps costs super competitive. But of course, there's geopolitical friction. Let's look at the semiconductor clash. At the dead center of all this tension is the semiconductor. If you don't know, semiconductors are the essential, non-negotiable building blocks for everything from electric vehicles to AI systems and advanced military hardware. They are literally the brain cells of the digital age, which is exactly why controlling who makes them and who gets them has become a massive global flashpoint. So, looking at these two strategic maneuvers side by side, we are watching an intense, escalating competition play out in real time. On one hand, the U.S. is implementing strict export controls to choke off access to the absolute highest-end AI chips and equipment. In direct response, China is pouring massive investments into its own domestic industry, racing as fast as possible to achieve total technological independence. Which brings us to our final section, the global tech race. So what should you actually take away from all this? This breakdown shows exactly why these tensions are reshaping the global economic landscape. For businesses, this export boom maintains the flow of electronics they absolutely rely on. For investors, it signals continued manufacturing strength. But for governments, it's a massive wake-up call highlighting the urgent, critical link between tech supply chains and national economic security. The reality is, the era of companies just hunting around for the absolute cheapest assembly line, that's over. Done. Nations worldwide are now investing heavily to diversify their supply chains, recognizing that long-term economic strength is now permanently tied to domestic production capacity and controlling these critical technologies. While the U.S. currently leads the pack in advanced AI research and chip design, China remains the undisputed engine of global physical manufacturing. As AI continues to fundamentally transform the globe and geopolitical tensions keep rising, the ultimate question is no longer if AI will change the economy. The only real question left is this: who will actually lead the next generation of technological innovation?